Fear your deeds, not me. I am justice, and no one can escape justice. We're skipping the standard intros today to jump straight into an epic showdown. It's a story where a deeply personal, heartbreaking vengeance actually transforms into the ultimate cosmic law.
Okay, let's dive into the tragic hero of cosmic justice, analyzing the Shani Dev epic. If you're studying ancient mythology or ethics, the story of Shani Dev isn't just your standard tale of gods and monsters. It's a really profound exploration of what happens when a marginalized outcast decides to completely rewrite the rules and establish the absolute law of karma. Let's look at exactly how he pulled it off.
Section 1. Birth of a Tragic Hero.
Picture this. The goddess Senya absolutely couldn't bear the blinding heat of her husband, the sun god Surya, so she comes up with a plan and creates a clone, her own shadow, Chaya, to take her place. Left all alone, Chaya performs agonizing penance to Lord Shiva. We're talking fasting under the scorching sun just to earn a real independent existence. And out of this intense sacrifice and fire, Shani is born. He's born dark-skinned, totally different from all the glowing celestial beings around him, but radiating immense power. Shani wasn't born into some shiny celestial luxury. His very existence was forged through his mother's profound devotion and immense physical suffering.
And this brings us to our first massive ethical fracture. The supposedly righteous sun god looks at his newborn son, sees his dark, shadow-like complexion, and instantly rejects him. He cruelly declares, "This cannot be my son," before abandoning him and his mother completely. In stark contrast, Shani's entire foundation is built on grit and resilience. He gets his strength not from a fancy royal lineage, but from sheer maternal sacrifice. The hypocrisy of the heavens is just staggering right out of the gate.
Which forces us to ask a really tough ethical question. When the established authority behaves with such shallow cruelty, what kind of psychological wound does that leave on an innocent child? Shani grows up with the stinging trauma of being tossed aside simply for how he looked. If you're mapping out the emotional arc of a tragic hero, this is ground zero.
Section 2. The gaze of destruction.
Ironically, his absolute obsession with getting validation creates his greatest burden. Driven to become more powerful than the father who abandoned him, Shani throws himself into intense meditation. Hoping to calm this raging inner fire, his mother arranges his marriage to a virtuous woman named Chicharoth. But Shani is so completely consumed by his quest for power that he completely ignores his wife when she approaches him. Feeling deeply humiliated, she lashes out and curses him. From that exact moment on, whatever he looks at will be instantly destroyed. It's a devastating consequence. It forces him to walk through life with his head constantly bowed, unable to look anyone in the eye.
But here is where you really see what Shani is made of. Despite possessing this newly weaponized gaze, which is literally a look of death, Shani demonstrates unbelievable ethical restraint. When opportunistic figures like Shukracharya and Rahu approach him, basically begging him to use this curse against the gods to take over heaven, Shani flat out refuses. He tells them, Dharma never runs on selfishness. He's not a villain looking for a cheap power grab, you know? He's a wounded soul genuinely seeking true justice.
Section 3. Exile and unprovoked cruelty. So after goddess Sanya returns and the truth is revealed, Surya completely banishes Shani and his mother. They manage to find a peaceful life and a quiet forest. But the ruling deities just can't let it go. They continue their pattern of unprovoked violence. Surya tracks them down and maliciously sets the forest on fire with illusory flames. He's literally trying to burn his own son alive out of pure spite and vanity. Shani is trapped, but in this massive, high-stakes moment, Kakraj, the mighty Crow King, swoops down from the burning sky, grabs Shani in his talons, and flies him to safety. In Kaklok, Shani finally finds a loving, adoptive family with Kakraj and his mother.
And just when Shani finds a fleeting second of peace and acceptance, the establishment strikes again. Lord Indra, the supposed righteous king of heaven, discovers Shani's location. While Shani is away, Indra launches a completely unprovoked, murderous strike on Kaklok. Innocent crows are slaughtered, and Kakraj's mother, the very woman who treated Shani like her own blood, is brutally murdered. We have to pause here and seriously consider this from an ethics standpoint. Are these traditional gods actually acting like honorable divine protectors, or are they acting like corrupt tyrants who desperately need to be held accountable? They are totally abusing their infinite power to crush a marginalized outcast. The hypocrisy has reached its absolute limit.
Section 4. Challenging divine authority.
The pacing here goes absolutely off the rails. When Shani sees the lifeless body of his adoptive mother, the universe literally shakes with his fury. He channels his raging energy directly into his friend Kakraj, transforming the crow into a massive, unstoppable war chariot. He launches a rapid, one-man assault on Swarglok, heaven itself. As soon as he gets there, he unleashes that cursed gaze, completely paralyzing the gods. And he doesn't just defeat them. He uses their very own divine weapons against them. He is moving with pure, unstoppable fury to completely humiliate the divine hierarchy.
It all boils down to this climactic duel between father and son. Indra begs Surya for help, and the sun god arrives, firing his burning rays. Surya is desperately using his light to hold on to his fading authority, but Shani effortlessly extinguishes it with his terrifying gaze. The sun god's body goes completely cold, the Milky Way vanishes, and the universe is plunged into pitch-black darkness. Shani doesn't just defeat his father, he strips Surya of his defining light, exposing the ultimate vulnerability of the old guard.
Section 5. Clash of Cosmic Powers. The terrified gods actually run to Kailash to beg Lord Shiva for protection. But Shiva, remaining perfectly calm, drops this incredibly profound realization on them. He says, "The injustice you ignored for years now stands before you as justice." Shiva is pointing out exactly what we've been tracking this whole time. Shani is not a simple villain. He is the living, breathing manifestation of the god's own unchecked karmic debt.
But Shani is so consumed by his righteous fury that he's totally lost perspective. He ruthlessly defeats Shiva's elite guards. He actually achieves the impossible and literally throws the kings of heaven into a celestial jail. But then, the ultimate boss battle happens. Shiva himself descends upon Swarglok. Instead of bowing down, Shani, blinded by arrogance and anger, casts his destructive curse directly onto Mahakal, Lord Shiva himself.
But look, absolute power always has a ceiling. Shiva remains perfectly calm, but he slowly opens his third eye. Just a tiny fraction of that cosmic energy slices through Shani, violently sending him crashing down from heaven to earth. He slams into the ground beneath a massive peepal tree. Shiva violently grounds Shani, snapping him out of that vengeful rage and forcing a desperate, profound moment of clarity. Shani realizes he had become the very tyrant he originally sought to destroy.
And that brings us to Section 6, Redefining Absolute Divine Justice.
Lying there under that peepal tree, Shani deeply repents. Shiva, recognizing Shani's immense courage and his foundational love for justice, revives him. But he doesn't resurrect him as an angry rebel. He resurrects him as the ultimate impartial judge of the universe, formally establishing the unbreakable law of karma. It's the absolute rule that no one, not even the highest gods, is above the consequences of their actions. The entire cosmic order gets completely restructured here. Shani Dev is crowned the universal judge and given his own realm, Shanilok. And Sri Dev, the proud sun god, is completely humbled. He is forced to travel down to earth, personally apologize to Chaya, and respectfully restore her honor. The entire universe is now bound by inescapable accountability. It proves that true divine duty actually requires the humility to face the consequences of your past cruelty. So, circling back to that opening quote, "Fear your deeds, not me. I am justice." After tracking his emotional arc from a rejected, marginalized kid to a grieving son, and finally to the supreme judge, we now clearly understand that this is not a villain's threat. It's a profound philosophical truth forged through immense personal suffering and loss. Shani Dev isn't the god of punishment. He is the god of holding up a mirror to your own actions. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder as we conclude this explainer. The story of Shani Dev teaches us that power without accountability is really just tyranny. In a universe where absolute justice is always watching, what exactly do your daily actions say about you? Think about how you treat those with less power than you, because the law of karma ensures that eventually the scales always balance. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the explainer, and I'll